Miciah Hidlebaugh, the 72H.
Tanner Allen from Springville in the 22.
And the flying bomb pop, Miciah Hidlebaugh, he's got company.
Tanner Allen. Allen's right there.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the B-Main Bobbies Podcast. We are the B-Main Bobbies, winning in B-Main near you. I am Tanner Allen, driver of the number 22 IMCA Stock Car, and I'm here with fellow Bobby, Miciah Hidlebaugh. Well, we're back, man. It's been a few weeks since we've been off, but
weeks.
It's just there's a lot of stuff going on with the season's supposed to be starting this weekend or this current weekend, but we had a little bit of weather complications, but you know, we deal with it every year. I mean, we get all excited to go. We see all these races scheduled for March, early March, and every year we deal with some sort of cancellation due to weather. So
we never get the luck of the good spring to us. It never happens. We get these pretty race cars all done, and we figure we better hit the track right away, you know. And we're set to run the Dirt Crown this weekend, or this coming weekend, I should say. But we'll see what happens. Weather doesn't look too promising. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted. The plan, if it does cancel or gets moved again, Tanner and I will probably be in Memphis, old Scotland County. Decent track. It's always been pretty fun track. I actually got my first hobby stock win there.
attaboy.
Oh yeah, that seems forever ago. But yeah, and Mike always gets that track on point. And it's one of those things you guys fight during this time. It's crazy. All this weather, the tracks are still a little soft, and I mean, some tracks are lucky enough to get practice in, to get cars rolled in on it. I know you were fortunate enough to attempt to practice at Muscle.
Yeah, it was an attempt. We'll put it at that. But no, it happens every year, and it's honestly surprising for how dry it's been all last year, and then really the winter we had a couple weeks where we got a ton of snow, but after it all melted, the ground soaked it right up. We really didn't have any frost. It's gone, but they must have got hit a lot harder than we thought there last week.
What's crazy is, I mean, Park Jeff, I mean, they're not that far away from them.
Right.
And they already got night one in.
Yeah, I know.
Night one in this season. And I mean, yeah, you got to have weather on your side. But some tracks are just, the drainage system's different for them. And practice in the past has been known to rut up, and I know that the track, they're trying their hardest. They don't want to do that for the drivers, because the last time I was there, it was pretty rough. I mean, it was bad, and it's to the point of you don't want to tear anything up. Your first race out, you don't want to have a junk race car. You can. I mean, you get these fresh bodies on, you're all ready to go, and then next thing you know, something happens, and you're like, man, I worked so hard just for this to happen.
Yep. But I mean, it was good on their part, and I think they also knew that there's people that travel from quite a ways to come to this event, because they canceled, what was it, Wednesday?
Yeah, they canceled Wednesday.
So at least
131 inches.
Yeah, they did it early enough that we weren't either halfway there and they canceled it or anything like that. So we'll just have to see. The weather forecast keeps changing, so we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, throughout the week, the weather looks all right, but of course, the only chance of rain is when we're trying to race.
Friday is supposed to be decent, and then it's like Saturday, there's a chance of snow, and it's like,
oh, it's snow now.
Yeah, they're in Iowa. It's snow now.
Oh, great.
Yeah, there's going to be snow. But like you said, we're race car drivers. We are not meteorologists, so we don't know what's going to happen. We attempt to guess the weather. And I know one thing that I've always been really, really funny at, and Carly makes fun of me for it, is if I don't load up and go to the track that I'm racing at, they're going to race. But if I go, it's going to rain out.
Yep. I think everybody feels that way. I mean, that's what we did at the end of the year last year. We were down at Bloomfield. And it was really nice all morning Saturday, but the chance of rain just kept growing and growing. So we're like, you know what? We're not going to do it. We're going to go to CJ and
loaded up, got there 15 minutes before hot laps.
Yep. And we just got like a 10-minute light shower there, and they didn't even start racing at Bloomfield till like 11:30 at night. So
I think that little light shower though helped the track. It was pretty fun that night.
Yes, it was. But no,
Bobbies had a top 5 finish there.
We did.
There were no B-Main Bobbies that night.
No. No. But yeah, that's the plan for now. We're gonna try and get the first Dirt Crown race in, and hopefully we can. Otherwise, I don't know if they'll try and reschedule this event again, or if they'll just axe it off the schedule and we'll just go on to the next one. So, but it'd be cool to go to Memphis. We've thought about going down there last year, but I don't remember where we ended up going instead.
Have you raced there?
Never raced there, huh?
No.
It's definitely a unique track. You got to watch out coming off of turn 2 for that wall. It'll jump out and grab you. I mean, I've seen a lot of cars get junked off that thing. But no, it's definitely a nice track. Mike's turned that place around. They don't race a whole lot. They don't race many events, but when they do, they put on a good show and they get the cars and quality cars too. I know. I mean, John Oliver always goes, and I mean all those guys over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, other than that, it's kind of your only really place to race right now.
Yeah, I know.
I was planning to go to Oklahoma, but we decided to run the Dirt Crown this year, so I can't really go to Oklahoma anymore. It would have been really fun to try a new track out, but with what our season plans hold, it just wasn't going to work out.
Yeah, well, and that's, like I said, we deal with it every year. Like, I just found out that Tipton was rescheduled, and I didn't even know it. So
rescheduled for like a month or 2.
Yeah, but no, that is what it is, man. But I was glad we were able to at least get my car out last weekend over at Marshalltown.
Tell everybody what you thought of the new ride heights, huh?
Well, the ride height deal, it didn't affect us any.
It didn't affect me either. We scaled my car the other night, and
I know there's a lot of guys that are really, really nervous about it, but
I know there's a lot of people that had to completely change their setup. Where we didn't have to a whole lot. I had to do a left rear spring change and a couple turns on the weight jacks, and that was it. And so we're pretty much on the same stuff we were running at the end of the year last year, and I think we hit on something at the end of the year, and the car got really good, and it just all depends on the driver at this point if he can make the right adjustments and read a track.
Yeah, well, it's same boat over here.
half of the game right there. You set the car up to make it right. I mean, it's just I don't know at this time of year how tracks are going to be. Obviously, they're going to be different than the middle of the summer.
Right.
A lot more moisture in the track. So, and I'm not a fan of hammer down. I'm not.
I'm really not either. I mean, sometimes it's fun. Like if you're on a big half mile or something, it's fun because you can just hold it wide open all the way around. But I mean, the racing's not that great when it's hammered down because everybody's fast and there's usually not much passing. It just everyone kind of spreads out, and where you start is usually where you finish.
So you better hope you draw the front row.
Yeah, and the way that both of us draw, that probably wouldn't happen.
It doesn't happen very often in this boat here. But no. I think these ride heights they're gonna throw a curveball in people's programs. But right now, who knows, this setup that we put in, it might not work with these ride heights. We might have to totally go back to the drawing board and really find a setup. But I know people. I mean, some people went to Florida they got these ride heights, and I know they're allowing a 1/4 inch tolerance, but I mean it's crazy how with my setup now I can't exceed a tire size in the rear.
Yeah, I know it.
I gotta. So you mean you're going out buying new tires and it sizes over than what you need? That's you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So, anybody has any small new tires and I get a big tire, don't be afraid to get a hold of me. I'll definitely trade you.
Yeah, and I mean that was kind of stuff that we were just testing in the garage, just putting a bunch of rounds in it and just see where everything goes, because that was an issue we ran into last year with the deck height rule. Is when we had a really tall left rear tire on or whatever, it was our deck height wasn't legal, so we couldn't run that tall tire.
And then it just sucks because you never know until you really get the tire sized how you want it, grooved and everything. Then you can really know. But then it's like, gosh, you spent all this money on a tire, and then you go to try to size it, and you're stuck. You know how it. But I mean, in our shop, it seems like every tire I buy is tiny. I've fought with that so many times, and
well, the other
honestly too is after you race, I know a lot of people in Florida, they would go out for hot laps or heat race, or even like when they were doing the practice nights, they would go run and then they'd pull on concrete and check the ride heights because you never know when you're on the track, something could come loose. Your jam nut might come loose on your weight jack. Spin that. I mean,
right.
I've never seen it happen, but you got to kind of factor in all those issues here because you never know when you go out and race. You might be right. You might be good on the deck or deck height and ride height stuff, and you pull on the tech pad and you're too high.
Right. And like there was one time last year that they were wanting to DQ me because they said all my trailing arms were loose. Well, I had a bushing break in the middle of the race. I about put it in the wall because the bushing down at West Liberty, the bushing broke coming out of turn 2, and I just barely missed the wall.
Do you guys run like the softer bushings or the harder bushings?
I think we have a couple of the soft ones in.
Because I know you run the harder stuff, and it was crazy how much my trailing arms. I mean, we put them in at the end of the year, right before Super Nationals, and I didn't run very many. I mean, I ran all the Super Nationals and I ran some fall races, but heck, that's probably about maybe 5 or 6 races, and I took them out, and they're pretty much worn down. I mean, it was almost like the metal on metal.
Right, because I know a couple of the small or the soft ones that we had, there was a bad batch of them that came through there for a while. Like we got one night out of a couple of them.
Well,
they were breaking.
There's a lot. There's a bad batch of trailing arms going out right now. And I mean, I don't know what Johnny runs, but
just factory ones.
Yeah, BHE was buying the All-Star ones, and the All-Star ones were coming bent from shipping. Haven't even been racing. They were coming bent. So they changed their product to these. They're from Tomcat. They're thicker metal, but yeah, they were coming pre-bent, and it was like, gosh, you know how that works when you have bent trailing arms. That you ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, no, and I mean they naturally bend on their own just from several nights of racing. But
it's crazy how these rear ends are torqued in all different directions into your car. I mean, gosh, you're trying to picture a street car rear end, and you should just drop the trailing arms down, bolt them up, you're good to go. And you're having to like angle the rear end in there, trying to get the in there. Like, God, this sucks.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, it didn't change our ride heights one bit. The only thing that we'll have to really pay attention to is the stagger tires. The only thing I worry about with this whole deal is how they're going to enforce it, because I would say probably 90% of the tracks we go to, they don't have any concrete pads.
I mean, they don't. And I know Marshalltown just made a cement tech pad, and I know Boone did. But a lot of people don't, and they're gonna have to almost check you on the scales. And I know IMCA, I think in Florida, they made these like actual like blocks, these test blocks, and I think they just slide them into their point, and if they slide in, and I think you're good. It's just like a checker.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, you're going to have level ground for that to even work.
I mean, what if you're on the scale pad awkwardly? I mean,
yeah,
Mister, I'm too light over there.
Yeah, I'll never understand that, but
Mr. Underweight over there, Scott Bloomquist.
Yeah, 70 pounds, not like half a pound like Bloomquist, but
oh, no kidding. The old Elgora Tech man giving you the thumbs down.
Yeah, that would suck. But yeah, that's the only thing that I worry about with it. And even some of the places that they were checking deck height last year, they just had a stick with a piece of tape on it.
Well, I remember at Makokata for a weekly night, it was the night after I won in Farley. I come in from the heat race and I pull on the scales and he puts the tape measure up there, and next thing you know, he comes to my window. You're high on your deck height. I'm like, well, what was it? And he tells me I'm at 44. And I'm like, what? So I climb out of the car and I'm like, check where you were measuring from. Well, he was literally measuring had the scale pad. Like he had some weird, I was on the ground and he was like on top of a scale pad. And I'm like, dude, you're on top of the scale pad.
Yeah.
Like, oh. I was like, yeah, check it out where find a level piece of ground there. There's some concrete right there. I'll pull right there and you can check it. Oh, you're good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean I understand the rule. I think it's good, but they're going to have to tell the tracks that they're going to have to make something for this to be an accurate measurement, because if you're going to enforce that precise of a rule, you're going to have something, because otherwise if they're just measuring it in the dirt, you can argue that all day long.
Oh, 100%. It's crazy how you hear about like what are you teching in these races? Oh, we just check trailing arm bolts and all this and that and carburetor. And I'm like, why? I'm all for teching hard. If you want to tear us all down, make us pull a gear out, tear us completely down, I'm all for it. Because it goes back to this week in dirt late model racing. It was probably the craziest drama late model racing. With 3 guys getting deep for dope tires and Hudson O'Neill departing, Tim McCready departing. I mean,
McCready did too?
McCready's in the Rocket 1 now.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that yet.
Yeah, McCready left. He went to the Rocket 1.
Wow.
That's going to be crazy. But it's crazy how tracks at these big races don't tech hard. And you've never been to Super Nationals. That is probably the most stressful tech you've ever been through. I mean, they're literally tearing your car down to bare. And you're sitting there, it's like, I hope when I went through and checked every bolt and everything, I couldn't have caught something, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen. You can totally miss something. I know I've been DQ'd for the shaft height. Then that was because we didn't know that stock was only 9 inches, not 10, a normal 10. And we got DQ'd on that at Vinton. But it's like, you guys need to enforce this stuff. It's crazy how we go to these big races and you're stupid to think that you're not racing against people tire doping, doing this and that. You're
right.
You're stupid if you don't believe it.
Right. When we were,
I want to race level playing field. I want to win at my level playing field. I do, because then it just is the satisfaction that you beat them not cheating.
Right. Well, remember down at Bloomfield last year, that one yellow car that was in my heat race? I got second my heat race, and that dude like won by half a lap.
One like put a straightaway on you guys.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not saying I was the fastest car there by any means, but by that point of the year, I knew where we stacked up against the cars we were racing, and I had not been pulled by that much anywhere. I was like, this is not even close.
It's one of those. It's just crazy. These people, and it's just like, what are you doing? Like, I have never been taken to Gapplebee's that bad.
No, it was bad. I'm like, I'm driving the shit out of this car right now. Like, we're not far off from being wide open all the way around that place. And this dude is just pulling away further and further and further. That just doesn't happen in this class.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen in this class. We're pretty even. I mean,
it is. That's what I like about it.
It's a pretty even playing field, and I get these ride height rules. I don't know what their reasoning for it is, and I don't know if they're trying to eliminate cars being so jacked up. I don't understand it. But it's in the rules. You gotta play by the rules.
Yep.
But like you said, I don't know how they're going to enforce it on these tracks that don't have a cement pad. I don't know if they put a designated tech pad somewhere. Like if you have to drive off out in the pit area to drive to tech and do it, then I'm all for it. But I mean,
it's just that if they're going to try and measure this stuff in the dirt or in the grass or whatever, it's like, there's no way that's going to be accurate.
No, because you can get a really low spot, and they're measuring. They're like, oh yeah, you're at a 5 on your right front. What? If I was at a 5 on the right front, I'd be dragging the ground.
Yeah, and like even that rear shock rule. I mean, if you're not on a level ground, that can throw that off too. I had an issue with that at CJ once last year. Once we got up on the scale pad, then it was fine. But they were measuring it out in the dirt, and he's like, "Oh, well, you're like 3/8 of an inch off." I'm like, "There's no way."
Yeah, and it's crazy. And at Vinton, I mean, they have the cement pad. It's just these tracks need to maybe look at putting a cement pad in, or putting a designated spot to check this, because it's one of the. And I don't want it to be like where they're not going to check it all the time. They need to enforce it more than the deck height, because there's some people's deck heights out there that are like, there's no way that's legal.
You can sit behind a car in staging and you can tell it's not legal.
Oh, right. 100%. 100%.
I saw it so many times last year.
Yeah, I don't get it half the time. I don't, because they don't check it every week. And I never understand what deck height really does to a car. I know decking, like interior decking rake and height makes a difference for aero, but anymore we're not NASCAR. We're not. Aerodynamics are going to help dirt racing, unless you're in like cars like late models, where
late models are sprint cars, but
aerodynamics mean everything to those cars. But we're stock cars here.
We're 3,000 pounds and we have 400 horse. Like, come on.
Right. I mean, you can put your car in a wind tunnel all you want and try to mount your body for aerodynamics. It ain't going to help you.
Well, I mean, look at the picture of your car right there. The left front fender's wrinkled up.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to do anything.
Well, I mean, yeah, look at that thing. That thing was wadded up first lap of a heat race, knocked the radiator out of a brand new car. Brand new body on the thing. But yeah. And it's crazy. And I look at the rake on the thing too, on the left, the hike on the left rear. I mean, granted that was before I put this last setup in, but the setup I had in at the end of the year, it still hiked up, and I hardly 3-wheeled.
Right.
Well, these ride heights, I don't know if they really eliminate your hike. They're not. it's all in your what spring you're running and what shock valve you have and how much load you have in it really is what's gonna determine. But then again, people try to get rake out of their car, they might not be able to, because of if they try to get the rake out of their car, they're going to be illegal.
Right. And honestly, that 2.5 inch variance is not much.
No, I mean, that's
because the rule's 2 inches, 7 to 9, but that 1/4 inch allowance either way. So you got 2.5 inches to work with. That's not much.
No, we're gonna be racing like in 2005 when every car was flat. Back when old Matthew was racing, the cars literally got in the corner and they didn't even move. They had the old box stock Bilsteins on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm all for the rules. I mean, that's everyone's got to play by them. But if you're going to enforce it, it's got to be accurate.
100%. They really do.
If you're going to come out with this massive of a change of a rule, you better be enforcing it all the time.
Oh, 100%.
Otherwise, if you just make this big rule and get everyone's panties all wadded up about it and then never check it, then what was the point?
What was the point? Well, like at Nationals, they started checking nose width.
Really?
Yeah. So like these people with the Camaro nose, how their fenders are so flared out, they were getting docked. They weren't getting DQ'd. They were getting docked 2 spots. And it's like, I don't think I've ever been to a race this year or last year where they literally stuck a tape measure and measured my nose width.
Nah, I never had that last year.
Never had it happen. And there were so many people at Nationals that got docked spots, and then next thing you know, you see everybody smashing their fenders and bolting in. And I'm like, God.
What was the measurement? Do you know?
I think it's 73 inches.
Huh.
I believe. In the rule, I think it's 73.
But yeah, I mean, that's another one of those deals. Like, it's not enforced anywhere else throughout the year until you get to Nationals. And
then you get to Nationals, and it's like, well, that's why I stopped running that body, like you see in the picture here.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying my C-pillar, it was it wasn't fabricated. It was 2 pieces. So that quarter panel is all one piece. I had to sorry, my finger's off. I had to rivet the C-pillar on to the quarter panel. And they were saying how that's not factory. But in their rules, it was saying you just had to buy by the measurement of a window. And I don't get how they are really upset about how that body is. It's not like the USRA guys where they're building these street stock,
like full on sail panels.
Yeah, and it's like the fenders literally curve, like they have like a ton of curve in it, and they're saying how that body was illegal. So I changed that right before Nationals because I didn't want to happen to make the tech tent, and they're like, well, your body's illegal, you're DQ'd. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, and that's another one this year, how there's so many people like B&B, they build their own bodies, and they have the 2-piece quarter panel where the B pillar and C pillar are riveted to the quarter panel, the lower half of the quarter panel. And basically they said, well, if you didn't have any problems last year, you won't have any problems this year. Okay, then I want that in writing.
Right.
I mean, I remember last year at Bullhog, I got talked to about we're not building late model bodies here.
I got that told to me last year too.
I like my doors out to protect my tires. I'd rather a door get hit than a tire.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you gotta push your doors in." Well, where in the rule book is there a limit to how far you can have your doors pushed out? There's not. There's no rule of how. There's only a rule on nose width. And I pull those out just enough to protect my front tires. And then I always pull my back of the doors out and the quarters out to protect the tires. And it's just like, how can you really say that I'm building a late model body here. No, I'm just protecting a $150 tire.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh.
Yeah, and it's not like the tire prices are going down. So
No, they're not. And it's crazy how when you get to a track, you build these, you want your body to look good. So you do all this work over the winter putting a body on. You want it to look good. You don't want it to look cobbled together.
right.
And then you get to the track and it's like they're always out to get you. If they can't find anything else, they're always like, say something about your body. Or
Yeah, because the first time I had an issue with my body was the A post, because it wasn't flush with the outside. Well, it never said anything in the rules about being flush with the outside.
I never had that, like, because how are the B&B cars, the roof,
Right.
my halo is offset, the cage is offset, so my body sits over on one side. So you think about it, my A pillar is never going to hit these roofs aren't wide enough for my A pillar to hit the outside. And if you pull, they're fiberglass. If you pull to try to get it to go there and you get hit once,
It's gonna snap. I know it. And that's the thing, is because those A posts, the fiberglass A posts are molded to fit that nose. Well, if you put it on there and line it up nice like it's supposed to, when it comes down to the dash, it's in like an inch.
Oh, yeah. You have to build. See, like this year I built these triangles.
Yep, that's what we did.
BHE put these triangles on so they're riveted to the outside of the door.
Yep, and that's what we did with mine, and that makes them happy. But what?
Like I said, they got to
find something.
Anything performance enhancing on your car, everything looks good. They have to find something to pick apart. And that same night at the whole hog, they're looking at my left front wheel and telling me I'm running a 3-inch on my left front, or a 4-off. And I'm or a 1. They're saying I'm running a 1-off, and I'm like, no, that's a 2-off. Well, I've never seen that wheel before, dude. That's a real wheel. You never seen those before? There's plenty of cars out here that have those.
Yeah,
that's a 2-off, buddy. I'm not that dumb.
Yeah,
it's always something.
Yep, but I just wish that they would enforce these other rules more so than the bodies, because some guys get radical with them, but it's nothing that's gonna.
It's how you think your body looks on your car, and I mean, run it. And like I said, I like my stuff to look good for a little bit. They're not show cards, but they gotta look good. And I've got that from my dad too. How he's picky about how his bodies look. He's always been like that, and I'm the same way. I want my body to look good, and I think a lot of it too. That's why I bolt it together, is because then I can just take it off, beat it out, and put it back on.
Yeah, well, that's why we did it. Got tired of drilling rivets.
Yeah, not drilling rivets out. Oh gosh, gets old.
Yeah, but that's the world that we live in when we race in this class. So we just have to try and abide by all the rules, and they'll always find something.
They always do. They always do, and it's heck. I think I put a straight. The only thing I did different was I put a different tailpiece on it, and they'll find something on it. I guarantee it. They'll try to find something on it. And it's what else can I do? I mean, really, you can't find a factory car anymore. And who wants to gut a car anymore? Really? That stuff sucks.
I mean, we did it last year, but after we did this performance body this year, I mean, that's the only way to go. It's so much quicker and easier. They're not near as durable, but
I mean, it's the roofs are pretty crazy. This will be the 3rd year on this roof. And it's got a few little crack marks in it, but if you brace them up and get them braced up good, then they hold together pretty well. And that's where I used to never run those triangles, the triangles for the A-pillars.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always snap the A-pillar right in half. One hit, even to a fender, it'd snap the A-pillar in half. So then the following year when I built a new car, I'm like, I'm putting these triangles on to see how they hold up. And man, do they hold up.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And the only reason mine ever got messed up is when that one guy rolled in front of me at CJ last year. When his car started coming up, something on his car caught that A-pillar, ripped it up, and then that's what ripped the corner of my roof. Otherwise, that roof would have been just fine.
Oh, yeah.
But
and that was a factory roof, wasn't it?
No, it was fiberglass.
Was it a fiberglass?
Yeah. No, we just ran the factory fenders, doors, and quarters. And that factory steel, that stuff is stout.
Oh, yeah. That's stout.
I mean, there were several times that my right rear quarter panel would get smashed in, and the studs for where we mount our weights would put a nice perfect circle in it, but it wouldn't puncture it. It's crazy.
I'm waiting for bodies to start turning into the plastic like the late models.
Yeah, I don't know. Some guys like them, and then there's other guys that they don't like anything about them.
Oh no, you got to have the factory look. You do. I 100% agree with the factory look. But there was nothing wrong with that picture that's behind me here.
No.
Why that does not look factory. It looks just like a Malibu.
Yeah, I've been.
Yeah. The only thing different is I don't think a Malibu's ever had a Camaro nose on it.
Probably not.
But it makes it look cool. I would definitely go back to that body. I would, because it's cheaper. It was way cheaper than the performance kit that you can buy through Performance Bodies.
Right.
I mean, you buy the whole kit, roof, doors, quarters, and it's like $1,400.
Yeah.
Or $1,300 around there. And I'm like, I can get a body freighted to my house for $750. I'm going to do it, or go pick it up.
Right. For that price, I could. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I just, the performance stuff's strong. Like the fenders, I mean, it's strong. But I always, when you get a dent in it, I feel like it's so hard to get popped and pounded back out nice. And you almost got to be like a professional body man.
That's why after about the third time of it coming off and getting pounded back out, you just pound it until it's close enough.
And then you just, yep.
Put her boulder back up.
It looks good. It's just going to get pounded in again.
Yep. I mean, it's almost every night.
It's like my right front fender. Dad always makes fun of me. That thing won't last. Thanks, Dad.
That's all right. Dad already got a spare one. So.
Gosh. You saw what happened last year at Miciah.
Oh, yeah.
I had to throw a spare one. An old Johnny Spa. Always gives me crap.
Yeah, I see he even commented on your post that the orange nose looked better.
Orange nose look better. Buddy, it's in the storage. The thing, just wait till I have to pull that baby back out again.
Oh, yeah. But, no, I'm just ready to go racing. It feels like it's been so damn long. Because it was October when the last races were. Because I think you went one more night after I did last year. Because you went back to Dallas
one more time. And after that was it.
Yeah, it was weird last weekend getting back in the car again. I mean, it didn't feel as fluid as it did at the last race of the season.
Is that the excuse why you spun out?
No. No, I got that out of the way on the first lap.
That a boy.
No, those new pedals we got, man, they're a big difference. You don't have to stand on it to get some brakes. But when we got it all plumbed in, I wanted my adjuster I wanted my brake bias to be the same as last year because I have like 1,500 laps of experience in this car with turning the adjuster to the right for front brake. So
You get all mixed up with that. Mine's all like right. How I know it's righty tighty, lefty loosey. Right, Hoosier? You're always barking orders at me, telling Dad how to drive, right?
Yeah. Well, and now mine's the opposite. I got to turn it to the left for front brake. Just because that's how it worked out. I don't know. It's not how I wanted it, but that's just how we're going to deal with it. But we went out there for the first time last weekend, and I'm like, man, it's way slicker out here than I thought. And I tried to be right in the middle to start, so then I could just go either direction. Well, we get to green, and as I'm going into turn one, and I'm hammering on it, and I'm like, yeah, I want to put some front brake in it. Well, out of habit, I cranked like 4 rounds in it because I want to come more towards the front. Well, out of habit, I cranked it to the right because that's what I'm used to, my front adjustment. Well, it's 4 rounds of rear brake in it, and I go in the corner and I step on the brake. Well, I stomped on it because I'm used to my old pedals. This one, you barely have to touch it, and you're getting brakes. Well, plus all the rounds of rear in it. As soon as I stepped on it, the ass end came around and whoop, right around and went.
Yeah, he spun around here.
I was like, well, I'm glad we got that out of the way.
This is the crew chief of the group here.
Yep. But no, it was nice to get a few laps in. I was a little bummed out that I didn't wait till later in the day when the track really got good and cleaned off, because I really wanted to run the top since they just did a bunch of dirt work in turn 2. But I didn't want to burn my stuff up. It was already getting pretty black out there, and I didn't want to burn my tires up.
Yeah, I know. Jerry moved a lot of dirt there, and supposedly it's hopefully going to make it 2 lanes again. I hope. I ran there last year, and it was kind of 1 lane. Kind of a bummer. I don't. Jesus, my hat's awful. It's kind of 1 lane, and I don't like that stuff. And so I think he took notes and tried to move some dirt to get it back to old Marshalltown, and people say it's going to be pretty fun. But time will tell.
Right.
When you're track, you'll get a race under your belt and get that new dirt worked in, and we'll see.
I saw they posted some pictures of Independence the other day since they brought all that clay in. Man, it looks so crumbly and dirty. I was like, that's scary.
It's going to take probably a year to get that track worked in with that clay.
Yeah.
With that clay and that old sandy dirt mixing, it's going to take some races to get that track worked into where they want it. Mike knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Stewart's clay. Stewart is. And Stewart's one of the best tracks that produces some of the best racing. Mm-hmm. And the racing I've been a part of was some of the best. 2 lanes, sometimes 1 lane around Stewart, but I mean it's very minimal 1 lane. If you can get a 2-lane track at Stewart, it's a blast. And I know I'm excited for when the Dirt Crown goes there. We'll see. It's crazy that all these tracks, you see all these pictures of tracks in this offseason moving dirt, trying to get the tracks changed. And you like to see that because you don't want a track that didn't race very well that you've been to and you're like, I'm never going back.
Well, like I keep telling everybody, look what Mike did to Makokata at the end of the year.
Oh, that track, I remember when I went and raced it in the weekly night and I said I was never going back because it was so rough. And I went there at the end of the year for the Dirt Nationals, and that track totally changed. It was fun.
It was awesome. That was the best that track was all year. And we ran there probably 5 times last year. And then I ran maybe 3 or 4 times there with our late model a long time ago. And I never was a huge fan of it. But if it's like it was at Dirt Nationals, every night this year, sign me up.
Sign me up.
That track was awesome. You could go anywhere you wanted, minus that crater that was in turn 4 on the first night. But
you lay down, wouldn't gonna see ya. Yeah, but I mean, that's every track. You're gonna get your flaws of a track, like Corey Drips deals with at Vinton.
Yeah,
I mean, that poor track has been rough forever, and he is trying and trying to get it smooth, and it's tough. And I know Beatrice moved dirt. Mike went out to Beatrice moved dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I know they moved the straightaways kind of in at Makokada. They actually had a practice there this weekend on Saturday, I believe.
Yeah.
And Stuart had a practice, and they said Stuart looked good. Well, it's just time will tell. I know our next podcast will be hopefully live at a track.
Yeah, at the trailer.
After the races, hopefully one of us is
the winner.
Yeah. So hopefully we get a 1-2 finish, and then we can.
Yeah.
But our next podcast will be live at a track, which is crazy. It seems like.
I know it.
So long ago when we were starting this B-Main Bobbies, we're in the middle of winter coming up with this idea, and now we're here like, oh yeah, we're racing next weekend.
Yeah, and we'll actually have more stuff to post about, and I'm working my best on trying to get the YouTube videos finished of the content that we have created so far. Both of us are like the novice of novices when it comes to technology and editing and stuff like that, but we're working on it. Hopefully get a couple of them posted here in the next week or so. I'm planning on having one go out this week, and then hopefully I think I have enough stuff for 4 videos, so hopefully we can do one a week, and then obviously we'll keep the podcast rolling since we're supposed to start racing. So
oh yeah, Friday you guys you'll get another podcast, and we'll be live in a trailer at the racetrack in Beatrice, Nebraska. But I wanted to tell everybody that we're gonna try to open the store back up for our apparel. If not this week, hopefully next week. We're gonna try to get some more numbers out of that. So if you would please support us. It'd be much appreciated. Go buy a shirt, sweatshirt, whatever. I mean, buy your dog a shirt. Who name it. But we're gonna do some cool stuff when racing starts. When Tanner and I can think of stuff like a giveaway or something like that, or the first so many kids to come to the trailer and get a hero card and autograph. You'll get entered into a thing for either a signed shield by both of us, something. We're gonna try to think of some cool ideas for giveaways, and who knows, you might even get a panel to go home with you. I'm decided.
Yeah. Well, and it's easier to come up with those ideas when we get to racing and know what we got and can actually have stuff at the track, and trying to do it all from home when there's not much going on. It's tough, but no, I mean, race season's here, man. It's crazy. It's here. So hopefully the weather cooperates this weekend so we can actually get to the track and get rolling instead of having to wait another week. But sometimes old Mother Nature has different plans.
Yep.
But no, so we'll see you guys here on the next one, hopefully live from Beatrice this coming Friday. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the support. Keep an eye out on all of our social media platforms. We're going to have stuff rolling here next couple weeks, and especially now that we're going to be racing, we're going to have all sorts of stuff. So make sure you follow us, like, and subscribe here on YouTube, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys at Beatrice.